it would be fair to say my wife and I had run the table as far as options are concerned. We were down to a fertility specialist at Arlington Hospital. Give it one more go. One more emotional roller coaster ride from month to month. Man, we wanted a child. I remember a staff member came and called. You know how they do when you're in the waiting room. I think we were the only two in there, so it wasn't too hard. Staff member, I think, came and got us and confirmed that we were, who we were, and proceeded to march us directly down to, now I'm just going to be flippant here slightly because it's all inclusive, and proceeded to march us down to the psych ward. And we get there. My wife and I are looking at each other. We're looking at the staff. The staff are kind of looking at each other. They're as bewildered as we are. Why are we standing there in the head ward? And to this day, I don't think any of us had an answer. Nobody had an answer. I had an answer. And Cindy had an answer. It just so happens that's the very same hospital that at the age of 17, now going back even further in time, I found myself after a botched suicide attempt of Valiums and vodka and stomach pumping and Malcolm Grow, Andrews Air Force Base, and leather shackles and chained to the bed. And now cannot hold a cigarette in my hand because my nervous system has been so badly, thank God, temporarily impaired that I can't tell you if there's a cigarette between my fingers or not. And yet they let me smoke cigarettes on the floor, man. Those are some living people in Arlington, let me tell you. I'd be dropping cigarettes in the common room. I'd be dropping them right out of my hands. Yeah, same place. And here we were years later. Now I, as a couple, one flesh, trying to procreate, and I am brought right back to where I started. Unfortunately, my wife had to go along for the ride. I think you can say, it is safe to say, that it was made clear to both of us in that moment or the ensuing moments afterwards that perhaps the God of our understanding was not in this, us having a child. We let it go. We let it go. We both remember the kitchen incident. The kitchen incident. Sometime afterwards, when we looked at each other and we said, we never asked God Daddy what he wanted. We just bulled headlong. And we let it go, and we felt better. And no, there's no, happy ending. We didn't, get pregnant then afterwards, like you hear that happens to a lot of couples. God bless them. We took another route. We said, well, let's look into adoption. It's amazing what $50,000 can buy you. It can buy you a place in line near the front of the line. Oh, no. Don't be silly. The adoption lawyer never said that. They never said it. They didn't have to. So, there we are. I got the fire marshal in the house making sure I got smoke detectors where I need them and fire extinguishers. And we got 2 social workers. And they're in our house, and they're checking things out, and they're sniffing. And then the interviews start. I think it was the common interview. Yeah, it was the common interview where it was the 4 of us. Whatever, group interview. And I remember I remember how they really honed in on Cindy. They seemed to be very, very, very concerned with the fact that Cindy didn't have what appeared to be a working relationship with her mother. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, right? Meanwhile, stage left. Yeah, no, I was to Cindy's left. I remember sitting in the couch. I was to Cindy's left. Meanwhile, stage left, there's a guy with a driving record with the state of Maryland, MVA, that's like 6 pages long. They don't even concern themselves with that. I'm sure, if memory serves, because they snoop your butt pretty carefully. You got to turn over all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure, yeah, as I recall, no, yeah, your driving record is one of the things they want to see. Yes, as God is my witness, I believe this to be a correct memory. That was one of the documents you had to produce, your driving record for the last 3 years or whatever it was. Man, no, it was a complete driving. It was. That's why I was sweating bullets. I had to provide them a complete driving record. Yeah, that's just like 6 pages long. I hadn't had it expunged yet. In the state of Maryland, you have to go 10 years. My record looks really good. Now I got a couple of little speeding tickets over the last 30 years on it is all. It don't look nothing like it did on that day and that interview. DWI, DUI, speeding. Man, they focused in on Cindy because she didn't have a working relationship with her mother. I'm like, you've never met her mother. You've never met her mother. You don't want to meet her mother. I'm thinking all this while I'm getting lower and lower in the couch because I'm like, let the angel of death pass over me because this is weird. I don't know what's happening here, but for some reason, they're not even looking at me. It's like I'm not even here. I'd say that interview went pretty well. I'd say my wife deflected all of their slings and arrows. One time in my life, this boy's real quiet. Real quiet. I wasn't saying nothing. Then come the individual interviews. I guess Cindy's went, okay. Mine didn't. Oh, the interview was fine. You know. She's trying to catch me not dotting I's or crossing T's. Who knows, she's a social worker. She's still examining me. But I guess I want to say the interview went pretty well. I walked out actually feeling pretty good about it. I liked our chances. You know what I'm saying? I liked our chances for a stamp of approval from the state of Maryland or whatever. As we're walking down the back steps going to our cars, I was possessed to tell her of a memory. I say possessed because I have to believe I was instructed to. The memory came to me from out of the blue. Out of the blue. So I guess I think I'm making small talk to our cars. And I tell her about the young man in the AA meeting, the newcomer, who saw the church's take in the desk drawer, $50 or something like that. And at the end of the meeting, it was gone. And he was the only newcomer. Everybody else in the meeting was, dare I say, tried and true. We were all long-term members with good sobriety. And I said, so we thought it was probably him. And she turned to me, much like that lady in another story I've told you about here on YouTube. She turned to me, and her eyes were like just glass, but with a hardness like granite to them. And she may as well have snakes coming out of her hair, too. She may as well have Medusa. I always get them confused. Methuselah, Medusa. It's Medusa, right? The chick with the snakes in her hair. And she looked at me like that. I could see the snakes, I'm telling you, because I'm looking into these glass, dead, hard, cold eyes. And she says to me, and I quote, after my long story about this newcomer, 2 or 3 sentences really, she becomes judge, jury, and executioner. And she looks at me blankly and she says, again, and I quote, well, he's going to hell. Somehow I think Cindy and I lost our fervor for adopting. Somehow it waned. Now, you can say, nothing to see here, folks. Move along. Certainly could. Or you could take a moment and you could wonder why a social worker would say such a thing as that about a person who's troubled like that. Again, I took that as a hammer to my forehead. That I was barking up the wrong tree. That I was such a work in progress, and I still am. I'm shot through with errors. I guess I had to assign it, and Cindy and I talked about it. We gestured, we postured that possibly God was busy being our daddy, because both of us came from homes which weren't, who does come from a home that is anymore? All that Leave It to Beaver stuff is gone. Yeah, you see, we both came from kind of fucked up homes. Really messed up homes. And I think we thought we wanted to be, those that set the wrongs right by having a glorious child and raising them in the way that they should go and being the perfect human being. And as Cindy has pointed out to me only recently, who the heck were we? But she didn't include me. She's too ladylike for that. She only spoke of herself. She said, who was I to ask for more? I was given sobriety. Yep, probably be looking up to her for eternity too. There's going to be a whole bunch of you people I'm looking up to for eternity. Because that meek stuff, homie, don't play that. Peace.